Here's some MSNBC on the refugees and saying they're not worthy. And so I got a line of these on my show prep. Play this one, Sean. MSNBC.
Well, in my view, what makes it different is that they are white South Africans. The president, in my view, has not hidden his racism behind a bushel. In fact, in his policies, whether it's removing government workers or, in this case, admitting white South Africans while denying refugee status, asylum seekers from other countries, principally Central and South American and Black nations to come into this country. And so I think that, this policy, while it's not surprising in this action, really speaks of the underlying message in this that disrespects and shows disdain for people of color while embracing these Afrikaners now, and also expediting the process by which they can come into the country while denying that same process to other refugees.
The millions of black and brown people have crossed the American border illegally. Millions, tens of millions. We don't even know. We can't even get a solid count on how many. And 59 white South Africans come in, and she's got to say white every time. I hope you noticed that. When these illegals come in, was the news saying, another 10,000 brown Mexicans coming into the country. Well, a boatload of black Sudanese washed up on a Florida beach today. The black Sudanese were taken into custody. It's only white South African, a white that. She has a problem. She's a racist. That's her problem with these people coming in. You'd be very hard pressed to convince me or anyone with half a brain that these aren't people fleeing for their very lives from South Africa. This one, that was MSNBC. This is NBC. NBC talks about the South African refugees. Let's listen to NBC.
And they got this big celebration, and these are the only, white African descendants of apartheid, the European colonials, or those who participated in apartheid. They're of all ages, including children.
South Africa says that the allegations about persecution of these people, the allegations are false, according to the South Africans.
According to the South Africans. It's the people that are killing the white farmers saying we're not killing the white farmers. Boy, that never happens, does it? When there's an atrocity going on, when there's actual genocide going on. The people committing the genocide, they always fess to it, right? Yeah, that's it. Hey, South African government, are you murdering white farmers? Yeah, we're killing them as many as we can. Oh, okay. So their refugee status should be given them. Oh, absolutely. We'll murder the out of every single one we see. They're reporting that the people perpetrating the genocide say there's no genocide. That's your mainstream media, people. How disgusting is this? Ugh. Infuriating. And then they're descendants of apartheid. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? They were government officials during the apartheid? How are they trying to blame these victims? Because that's what they're doing. Blaming victims. The left is so good at blaming victims and coming to the aid of people perpetrating murder, genocide, whatever it is, the Dems, the libs, they'll be there to support them. You're black and you murdered a white child, a white student. We're right behind you. You go. MSNBC, NBC, CNN asshole. This one is labeled CNN asshole. Discusses the South African refugees. This, of course, is your mainstream media, people. I'm not picking and choosing. I am getting network television, MSNBC cable, CNN cable news. These are news networks. This is their take on this situation. So, CNN assholes, discuss.
Okay. So if you think about the history of South Africa, it being under an apartheid system, where I think it is 80% of the population that are Black Africans only own 4% of the land. That is because they were put in shanty towns and moved into areas where they had no rights. And so 30 plus years ago, they went through a the apartheid system ended, and they reformed their constitution under the great leader of Nelson Mandela. That allowed for a racial reconciliation, one that this country has yet to do. But South Africa did it, and they reformed their constitution.
Pause. So we should be more like South Africa. Have some kind of a constitutional redo to make sure the blacks are getting what they deserve. Does she understand that the problem that everyone had with the apartheid system was that the minority of people, the whites, were leading and ruling the government over the majority people, the blacks? And she wants that here? All right. Whites are still the majority population in this country. So we should just have white government ruling over black people and being allowed to take their land or whatever we want to do. Whatever blacks are doing to whites in South Africa, we should be doing to blacks in America if it goes the way this woman is professing it should. Unbelievable, these people. They just don't get it. It's right there in front of their face. And Nelson Mandela was a piece of what a dope he was, too. Just unintelligent. A real loser. And his murderous wife, Winnie Mandela. Oh, God, they put these people on pedestals. Well, they put fat black women on statue pedestals in Times Square, so what the fuck do you expect? All right, let's hear more of this gibberish.
And part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back.
Pause again.
That is
native to that land. They weren't native to that land. That land was wide open. Africa's a giant continent. And some Dutch people eked out a little place on the south end of the continent of Africa. And they built a society and a culture.
It's not what
I wasn't done. It was a dramatic pause. I'll say go ahead, Sean, when it's go ahead time. My dramatic pauses as I get my thoughts together, man. So they then blacks came to South Africa. They weren't there the whole time. They weren't kicked out by the Dutch. This wasn't their land. The Dutch came in and made something of it. They farmed land that wasn't a farm. They produced livestock, agriculture, an infrastructure, all of that. And then blacks came in, and because it's the African continent, every inch of it belongs to black people. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. So now they have a say, and they have a right to take people's land that the people have owned for generations. It's ridiculous. All right.
Connors actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land, just like we do. And that is for them to. So if the
that's their checks and balances. Well, we'll have to check and balance. All right, check. Now let's balance it out by murdering the white people so that we get everything that they've worked for generations upon generations. Just stop it. Go. Okay.
Afrikaners don't actually like the land. They can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No. They can
These refugees are coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Are you against them? Is this black woman actually saying, go back where you came from? Is she actually telling the white South Africans that have been there for generations, if you don't like it, leave. Go back where you came from. She's saying this. This would be deemed to be the most racist thing you could say to a black African American. You don't like it? You think there's racism everywhere? You think you're being killed by the police or the government or racist white people? Well, then leave. Go back where you came from. How about that? She's saying the same thing. They are so racist and don't even acknowledge it. They go on these shows and spew the most racist bull as it's just common sense. No, they should go back where you came from. Well, and he goes, the guy goes, yeah, well, they are leaving. They're leaving because there's genocide going on. They want to go to, and she's like, no, not go somewhere else. Go back where you came from. Holy she'd make a great Klansman. Wow. All right, roll them.
Come here?
Holland, probably.
Holland.
Are you
yes.
against them coming here?
I'm against the hypocrisy of this administration.
No, that's not the question. The question is, are you against them coming here?
If there was actually a genocide happening, like there is in other places in Sudan, in the Congo, I'm not opposed for Congolese and for the Sudanese to come to Africa, just like I'm not opposed to Venezuelans.
All right, so she's saying, yeah, well, if there was an actual genocide going on, like in the Congo, and it's like, oh, because they're black. She just wants black refugees. Again, a stunning example of racism by the left and the mainstream media. Stunning. It's inexcusable. There's no way anyone can defend this as anything but being absolutely racist against white people. Bring in the black refugees that are undergoing a genocide. What genocide, by the way, is going on in the Congo? It's a civil war. Every single stinking sub-Saharan nation goes through these civil wars, and one side starts winning, so they dub it a genocide, and then they give refugee status, and people could leave and go to these beautiful countries and them up. That isn't the case in South Africa. There isn't a civil war going on down there. There's white people who have lived there for generations that want to continue tilling their land and producing goodness for South Africa, food and resources and technology. That's not a civil war going on. It's one side, the blacks, wanting to murder the whites. That's genocide, not two primitive groups in the Congo each other because one has a wider head than the other. Like Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis. That was another civil war, and then the Hutus just decided to start hacking up the Tutsis. Is it genocide? I don't know. Probably. Probably is. But that was a civil war. Oh, these motherfuckers. All right, let's listen to this a little more.
And South Americans coming to America if they are fleeing and looking for asylum. What I am
Just
against,
these 50 people you're
what
against.
I am against, it's not about being against them. What I am against is that they are being given special treatment when there is not a genocide happening in South Africa, and they just don't like the law.
How
of
do
the
you
land.
know?
So you know what they
There has
tell
been
people.
violence.
How does that say that there is no genocide? Like, how do you know? Has she looked for it? Has she researched it? Or is she taking the word of the South African government, the ones killing the white farmers, that there is no genocide? She's so smug and sure. There is no genocide. F off. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I knew I'd get, like, super pissed with this, this topic.